Hi, everyone. I'm Christina Simons,
I'm Adam Simons.
and we are here to welcome you to our, we're not really sure what we want to call it yet, but our vlog, essentially, video blog on our life, our journey, our path.
Yeah, it's a journey that's has a lot of ups and downs, a lot of peaks and valleys. It's a story of one of redemption and recovery, and but also the ugly side of addiction and despair, and almost losing everything that you value most in your life. So we've never done this before. I've been able to talk about my story in small groups and big meetings, but never in front of a camera. So not sure what direction we're gonna go, but we're gonna do our best just to be genuine, vulnerable, and hopefully our goal is to not only just spread awareness to being able to speak and be okay with who you are and comfortable telling your story, even if it's might not be accepted, I guess. And just kind of letting your guard down and checking your ego at the door and just hopefully impacting maybe one person that might be feeling alone or feel like they have no way out or there's no light at the end of the tunnel. I hope they get to see this and show you that it's an example of um, love conquering all and sticking by somebody and supporting somebody through tough times and good times. So that's what this journey is going to be about, sharing our story, our ups and downs, the windy roads of recovery, and hopefully, you know, you follow along.
So I think what we want to start with is kind of taking you back to um, really what led us to where we are today. And then eventually, what I foresee, I think, is just telling you guys a little bit about ourselves, where we're at now, and walking you through that. And then ultimately, we would love to share this once a week. And again, just in the hopes that we could touch one life. If there's someone out there who's struggling, if there's a couple who's struggling, maybe it's not even necessarily an addiction, but something else. I know that when I was, working through our journey in the very, very beginning, I listened to Brene Brown, and I know that's such a popular thing now. Everyone listens to her. She's amazing. Um, and I don't know, maybe it was popular then. I just hadn't heard about her, but she truly changed my perspective on how to approach difficult things in life and how to be vulnerable. So I don't know why I'm bringing that up now, but I think just there's going to be a lot of different paths that this journey takes, but ultimately just being vulnerable and showing you guys a little bit about us.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, some of the stuff that we'll talk about, especially the personal stories of kind of her perspective and my perspective. Some of the stuff is hard to talk about, and I've over the years I've been able to open up more and more about my struggles, and this is just another platform, like I said, to just spread awareness of you know coming from I guess a manly perspective. It's not always easy to show emotions, show your flaws, show your weaknesses. Um, Oftentimes, we're as a society are forced as men to push those down and to suppress those, and ultimately they come up in different ways. My the way that how I chose to express my emotions came out in a very volatile, aggressive, angry, defensive way. And so my goal is to give men out there I guess, a way to connect and a way to just be willing to just drop your ego, drop your guard down, and just just speak from the heart and speak your truth, because ultimately that's the only way that your journey will, I guess, see success, is if you um, drop that guard and that armor that you've had your entire life, and you just take a step into the unknown. And that's kind of how my story started, was just when things spiraled out of control and chaos surrounded our lives and the lives of others around me. It wasn't until I made that first step of acknowledgement and threw away denial and threw away, what I believed other people wanted me to be or wanted me to say or expected of me. None of that matters. What matters is what you value most and what you're able to provide in a form of value to other people that might be struggling in the same way that you are. So that's kind of my hope. So
Yeah. I think just one little tidbit to add along with that is, and anyone who's dealt with something difficult probably feels this way, but I think once we're out of the difficult situation, it's easy to forget, or yeah, to forget that how we felt anyway. So just anyone that you encounter, you never know what they're dealing with, right? Someone in the grocery store, someone in a hospital, maybe they just gave birth, someone just gave birth in a hospital, or maybe someone just passed away. There's two sides to every situation. And I think, for me, when I was really struggling, I felt that so much just walking around the grocery store, like, just, a little bit of a pity party for sure. Like, no one knows what I'm going through. But then on the other end, it gave me this perspective that you don't know what anyone else is going through, has gone through, um, what they're walking through that day, that week, that month, that year. Um, and just trying to find kindness for others. Now, I think that's another part of vulnerability for me is, am I perfect? Absolutely not. Am I always thinking of someone on the road, in the grocery store, wherever, that, oh, I wonder what they're going through today? I mean, no, I don't. And I need to be better, absolutely. So I'm not saying that at all. But I think the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, just showing others compassion and grace and love, and trying to kind of live by the term that probably a lot of people don't maybe use anymore. I, there's so many different things, but um, just what would Jesus do? I mean, our faith is a big part of what got us through this, and so whatever your faith is, it doesn't have to be Jesus. It doesn't have to be God. It doesn't have to be any of that. But, how would you want someone to treat your mom? How would you want someone to treat your grandma? I mean, those are the things that I think, now I'm going on a tangent, but could be just instilled more in our society. So yeah, but maybe let's start with like a present day introduction, and then we'll take you guys back in our next episode with our story. So
flashback.
yeah, we'll do our story of the journey that got us here. And then, we'll go way back to our childhood and all of that. But I think for right now, probably most pertinent is the present, where we're at today. Next episode, we're going to dig into the story.
A little Back to the Future. Marty, where we're going, we don't need roads. Joking, we cut that out.
No,
Anyway,
we don't need to.
Present day, we are parents of two wonderful children, wonderful boys, maniacs.
2 and a 4-year-old.
2 and a 4. Keep us busy. I'm active in recovery in the community, within AA, as well as a couple different groups. One called the Stampede, the other Christians in Recovery, that I attend regularly, weekly. It was kind of expressed to me early on in recovery that in order to continue in recovery and continue on the path that you and God have envisioned for your life is you have to surround yourself with people who know what you're going through and who have been there and seen, the ugly side of addiction and have been able to overcome that and are now helping others see that and help them walk through that in various different forms. And AA is not for everybody. There's different resources. Celebrate Recovery is another one. And my advice to anybody listening that is contemplating going to one or the other is just try to go in with an open mind. One of the hardest things for me was to walk through those doors. I felt like I was going to be judged, or I felt like I was going to be rejected. But that was the complete opposite. It's a community filled with, ups and downs and lefts and rights and, different paths, but we share a commonality of trying to grow and trying to become the person that I believe that God envisioned us to be. So, with that being said, that's kind of what I do in recovery. I try to help surround myself with men who are struggling, and in turn they help me and I help them, just kind of give a platform where they can be vulnerable and not feel judged. I try to be present. I try to be always learning something new. I always try to listen. I don't have all the answers, never will have all the answers, but I'm a really good listener, as it turns out. So I'm able to just be an ear, somebody to bounce ideas off of. And if you knew me before that, I was a complete opposite. I only cared about myself, cared about what was in it for me, didn't really care about anything, anybody. So I guess, it takes work. It takes, just like anything else. You have to take action each and every day. If you want a life that, is worth living and free of, substances or whatever addiction you may be facing, if you want to leave that lifestyle behind and focus on a brighter future and a future that involves the people that you love and around and being present and being here, there were times where I thought, I wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't, still be married or have my sons or be in their lives, or even, be on this earth. The darkness of some of the days as I look back, pretty dark and pretty ugly and pretty nasty, and to where I am today, where I'm filled with just so many blessings that God has blessed us in our lives, and hopefully use this platform to inspire others to take that initial step of getting help, because that's the hardest thing to do, is to ask somebody else for help. So
Yeah.
just to kind of give you an update on where we're at today, we're, like we said, we're proud parents of two maniac children, 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old boy, and love them to death. And I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't have them in my life if it wasn't for her and the community of recovery and the guidance that I've been able to have from various mentors and family and friends that have been with me along the way. I might not have everything that society says I need to have or expects of me, but I have the things that I value most, and that's my family and the love that I'm able to give and receive each and every day. So, obviously we'll dive into more specifics, but, just wanted to give you guys an update on where we stand as a married couple and as parents of 2 kids. So
Yeah. We live in Colorado. We have a beautiful dog and 2 boys. And yeah, just live a very average life, working and taking care of our kids. So, I think most importantly, we are married, and I would say happier than ever. That sounds like such a loaded thing, but honestly, someone who's living in an addiction filled life, whatever that looks like. I think whether that's your addiction or someone else's that's involved in your life. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I
It's like
don't.
more like a cloud that just covers
Yeah.
over you and follows you wherever you go.
Yeah.
And that's what addiction is. It consumes you.
So someone who's living in that cloud, whether it's theirs or someone else's over them, I don't know that they could ever truly be happy. Happy. There's maybe glimpses of happiness. So just the where we're at now compared to where we were 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago when
Even
we
a
met,
year ago.
even a year ago. It's crazy how much you can just continue to grow and improve. And again, you'll hear me say this a lot, but one step forward, two steps back, I think. Or what's the other analogy? Like climbing up the mountain, but like you go kind of like
You
this.
lost me at 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Oh, yeah, I said okay, but the mountain is like instead of just going like that, it's like you go here and then you go down,
Switchbacks.
and then you kind of go down a little, and then
There's
but
no
ultimately
there's no
you get
straight
up.
path
Yeah,
to where you're going. It's
yeah.
always going to be bumps in the road, obstacles to face. This isn't a story of perfection or
No.
we have all the answers or, you know.
Well, and on that note, one of the reasons that it took us so long to even get to filming this, not only the vulnerability and nerves and all those things, but is for so long we've talked about like what is our name going to be and what are we going to talk about and how do we have the perfect outline, make sure we look okay. And honestly, we finally sat down here tonight. I'm like in my just cozy clothes. I mean, this guy always looks great, but I just we both kind of were like we feel an urge to talk right now. Let's just sit down and do it.
Yeah, maybe
No
nobody even sees this or listens to this.
Maybe no one will ever see this, but no one cares
but
what we
this
look
is
like.
helping
It's
us
about
to
yeah. Maybe this
connect.
is just for us.
This could be just for us.
Hey,
Maybe we're not even recording.
maybe the
this is a
phone
setup.
is our therapist.
Yes. But yeah,
Okay.
but anyway, to not bore you, you know, this isn't just like something that's passing the time. This is actually something that we've thought about for many years. Like she said, you know, it's a story that encompasses so much. Like I said, there's ups and downs, lefts and rights, and you know, if we're able to help somebody, just one person, that's all we're trying to do. And all this is just us sharing our story, what we've been through, the things that helped us, the things that helped me, the things that I do. That's my experience and that's my journey. That's our journey. Doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know if that made any sense, but you know, this is our experience, our journey, and hopefully somebody somewhere can take something out of what we say, and do good and use it to impact somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, we don't have all the answers nor claim to have all the answers, but there's a lot of great people in our lives that have helped us navigate these rough waters at times, and you know, it's only best for us to try to give that away.
So many people that have just loved us, and from like little tiny things to very big things. We definitely wouldn't be where we are today without it, and just the compassion and love that have been shown to each of us, our kids, our family. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I think that's a good spot to kind of stop for today. And if you guys are interested, we look forward to continuing this and come back next week. We're going to do weekly episodes. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes. But come back next week and we'll jump into the story and continue from there. So, shifting the stigma over and out.
Numbing the noise.